I'm going to go through a couple different problems that you're going to see on your practice on IXL for perimeter. When you do the practice, you're going to have to add up the outsides and find the sum of all the sides like you usually would. Okay, but a couple different things that might throw you off that you might need help with is when you have, the first thing would be when you have fractions. Okay, so like this example, this is a rectangle. Okay, again, I'm not the greatest artist, but this is a rectangle and we want to add up all the sides. Okay, well this is in fractions. So the first thing that I always do is I always fill in the sides that I don't have here. So like this side's open, okay, I like to put 3/4 here because this side is equal to this side. Okay, and this side is equal to this side, so I can put 1 1/3 here. That way all the sides are filled in. Okay? So the first thing I do when it's fractions and mixed numbers that you're adding together is I take the fractions. Okay, I don't worry about the whole numbers yet. Okay, so I'm going to take 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. Okay, and when you add fractions like Mr. DeSmit taught you last year, you need to make sure all the denominators are the same. Well, in this case, not all these denominators are the same. So we need to make them all the same. Okay? Since these two are the same and these two are the same, then we can add those together right away. So 3/4 plus 3/4, 3 plus 3 is 6, and then the denominator when you're adding fractions stays the same. So we have 6/4 plus 1/3 plus 1/3, 1 plus 1 is 2, and the denominator stays the same. Okay? So I have 3/4 plus 3/4 equals 6/4, and 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. Okay? Now I need to make sure that I need to make the denominators the same in order to add them. So what you need to do is find the least common multiple. So the multiples and the least common multiples of the denominators, the numbers in the bottom. Okay? So you're going to figure out the least common multiple by, first of all, figuring out what the multiples of 4 are. So the multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And the least common one is 12. Okay? So your denominator is going to be 12. Okay, and this is probably the hardest part, what's next. Okay? 4 times what gives me 12? Well, 4 times 3 gives me 12. So you're going to take 3 times the numerator to get your new numerator. Okay? 3 times what gives me 12 over here? 3 times 4. So you're going to take 4 times the numerator to get your new numerator, which would be 8. Okay? Then you can add these because the denominators are the same. So you'll get 12 as your denominator because that won't change. 18 plus 8 is 26. Okay? Now this is improper, so you're going to divide this. 26 divided by 12, which is 2 and 2/12. And 2/12 reduces to 1/6 because 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So you get 2 and 1/6. Now, this is just the fractions. Okay, you also need to make sure that you don't forget the whole numbers. So the whole numbers that are left are this 1 and this 1. So you're going to add 1 plus 1 to get 2. Plus 2 is 4 and 1/6. Okay? And then our label for that would be units. Okay? So our answer would be 4 and 1/6 units. That's an example of how to find perimeter when the blanks are fractions or mixed numbers. Okay, that's the first thing that you'll see on IXL that's a little bit different when you're doing perimeter. The second thing you'll see is when you are given the perimeter, you're given the perimeter, and you have to determine the length of a side. So if we have another rectangle, and the perimeter equals 26 centimeters. Okay? We have to determine what this side is. Okay? Well, there's a couple different ways you probably do it. You could guess and check. Okay? You could, some of you might just feel like you know it, okay, which would be another form of guessing. Okay? But what's going to happen is on IXL you're going to end up getting questions like this, but they're going to be decimals. And to guess and check with decimals can be difficult. So I'm going to show you how to set up an equation that you can solve so you can get this missing length. Okay? So when you find perimeter, you're adding up all the sides. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to show that in an equation. So to add up all the sides, first of all I want to fill in the sides. So this side is equal to the bottom, the top is equal to the bottom, and the left is equal to the right. Okay? And if I was going to add these together, I would take 8, or excuse me, I would take x plus x plus 8 plus 8 equals the perimeter that's given. Okay? Now I can add like terms, something we talked about in our previous unit with expressions. These two are the same because they have the same denominator. So 1x plus 1x is 2x plus. These two terms are the same because they don't have a denominator, they're just numbers. So 8 plus 8 is 16, and it equals 26. Now, this is just a two-step equation, okay? So the first thing you have to do is get this term out of here away from, since there's two terms here, you gotta get this term out of there, away from the variable, okay, to get the variable alone. So 16, the opposite of plus 16 is minus 16. The reason we do that is because it's 0 and then we can cancel it. What we did to this side, which was subtract 16, we have to do to this side. So 26 minus 16 is 10. And then we can bring everything down. So 2x comes down, equal comes down, and 10 comes down. So now we can, and I'm going to rewrite that over here. Now we can solve for x here. Now it's just one step. 2 and x are being multiplied because they're right next to each other. So we divide by 2. Divide is the opposite operation. Gets x alone. X equals 10 divided by 2 is 5. So our answer would be 5 units. Or excuse me, not units. Our answer would be 5 centimeters because we know the units. Okay? So that's how you set up an equation, add the like terms, or combine the like terms, make a two-step equation, solve that to get the missing lengths. And this will be really beneficial when you have decimals. Okay? Decimals are the same, they're just decimals. Decimals are numbers, so you can use this formula or this way when there's decimals. Okay? Those are the two ways that might run you a little stuck on IXL that you'll need to know how to do when you are trying to get through that practice. If you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, this should help.